Hi friends, hi family, Steph and Ton here, jumping on to share a bit of what the plan is moving forward. I met with my doctor from Denver on Monday, my primary oncologist on Monday, and then I met with my local oncologist in the Springs Tuesday. And after discussing with them all the things, uh, coming to the realization that we still don't really have 100% slam dunk on what kind of cancer I have, but in the different kind of testing and research on my cancer, it's coming up poorly differentiated, aggressive, and also not extremely clear to what exactly it is, but it has markers that would be matching with neuroendocrine cancer. The odd thing about that is that type of cancer, it's a small cell cancer that typically is found in the lungs, which is very confusing to my doctors because my lungs are clear, my lungs are healthy from what they can tell, and it seems odd that this type of cancer is in my gastrointestinal area for the primary location where the cancer started. Not to say that that hasn't happened to other people, it's just there isn't a wide research study on that kind of cancer in the gastrointestinal. So a lot of things are kind of best guesses at this time on how we approach this type of cancer that they're finding in my body. And so they're wanting to switch up strategies and stop the FOLFOX and start these two different types of chemos that are better matched with dealing with neuroendocrine cancers to see if that will give a better result on treating my cancer and shrinking the tumors. So we're gonna do that, and it shouldn't be any problem with starting that in the next couple weeks. And then also they would like to do immunotherapy because immunotherapy tends to respond well to neuroendocrine. The problem with that is the insurance companies have to approve that, and they don't typically treat gastrointestinal cancer with that type of treatment. It's, like I said, usually used for lung cancer treatment. So it may be a little bit of a back and forth battle with the insurance to approve this type of treatment. So we're kind of on hold. We're a little bit in limbo. I was supposed to get chemo on Tuesday, but we had to cancel that infusion and wait and see what the insurance will approve so that we can reschedule chemotherapy. The nice thing is I won't have to do the pump. That's kind of great. It will be a different schedule of treatment. It'll be 3 days in a row of treatment, and then there will be 2 weeks that we'll just be waiting and then return. In talking to my local oncologist, I shared with him all of the struggles that I've been dealing with just with digestion and having regular bowel movements, that it's been definitely a day-to-day challenge and starting to really take a toll on my overall quality of life. And so in talking to him, we discussed going ahead and meeting with a new radiation doctor to discuss radiation. For it would be palliative care. So it's not, and palliative meaning that it would be more of a pain management situation and not a cure. But what they would do is have radiation treatment localized to the colon on my primary tumor. And the hope would be to shrink that tumor so that I can digest my food a lot easier and have regular bowel movements without so much pain. Because the last thing they want to do is for me to have an emergency surgery because I'm so impacted in my colon. So We went ahead and I met with a doctor in the Springs that is focused on radiation. It was a really great meeting, talking with him about my situation and the plan. And so we're looking at, we wouldn't do chemo and radiation at the same time. We would, the hope is, and the ideal situation is to go ahead and do the new chemo and immunotherapy if possible. And then on the following week, I would go into the radiation center for 5 sessions. Each session would be about 20 minutes long, and I would essentially be put into the radiation capsule where they do it for about 20 minutes a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for 5 sessions in a row. And the hope would be to be able to shrink that tumor. Of course, there's lots of other symptoms that are possible for radiation. One of the responses for all the ladies out there that are experiencing this, it can cause perimenopause to go ahead and start, which I'm okay with. Anthony and I are done having kids. We're thankful for our 2 boys, and I'm okay with going ahead and moving in that direction. But all the perimenopause symptoms are a lot, I've heard, just in general. So that's going to be a whole lot of more symptoms that I'm going to have to work with my gynecologist with possible hormone treatment, and just a whole nother side of things that, haven't really thought about. There's other symptoms that I'm going to have to look out for. But the main thing between the chemo and the new chemo, I will say, I won't have to have the pump. I won't have to deal with neuropathy as much. It's not as big of a thing. And I won't have, there's a possibility that I might have more diarrhea, which I was like, I told the doctor, well, that's fine, because I've been having the other issue. He laughed. I was like, I've been having a harder time just going, so maybe a change of issues wouldn't be such a bad thing. With the radiation, there's a lot of other random symptoms that you can go through, but probably the most prominent thing that I'm going to experience is fatigue, which that's really been the biggest response to everything, has been fatigue. So it's not going to be a new thing. But I know that this next part of my journey, and I'm looking at it like almost, Anthony and I both had done endurance events in the past with running. Before we had kids, we trained for 50-mile run. We trained for multiple 50K runs. So I'm familiar with what an endurance event looks like and how you have to pace yourself, how you have to fuel yourself, how you need to rest. There's different things that you have to do in order to get to the end of the race. And that's how I'm really viewing this time around, with this personal challenge of healing my body from cancer. This isn't going to be a sprint. This is going to be possibly the rest of my life. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll get to know evidence of disease, but there's a good chance that this is going to be a lifelong challenge. And so I'm trying to set myself up of okay, how am I going to fuel myself in this way? How am I going to rest? How am I going to, take care of all the things to get to the other side of it? And this one, I feel strongly that this next leg of the race is going to be very challenging. I'm probably going to have to take more time off in the next couple weeks and just be still, which for any of you out there that are type A people or have functioned in a sense of juggling so many things, sometimes being still is a lot harder than you think. I have a strong responsibility gene of taking care of things and doing things well and not letting things slip through the cracks and doing things independently and finding solutions and being the fix-it person. And all of a sudden I'm feeling like I'm having to lay that down and allow other people to help me, allow other people to do things that I used to do, and allowing people to learn how to do things that even in work, I'm like, people may do things differently than I used to do things, and that's okay. Like, I need to allow for that. I need to hand things over, completely and be like hands off, because if I hold on to responsibility of things, like, I'm not going to be able to be still and rest and fully focus on healing my body, which I feel like God is like pushing me, like, you really need to take care of this body and this situation. Also, just a couple other things that I'm working on this next week. I mentioned I'm gonna meet with my gynecologist. I'm gonna talk with them about ending my cycle as a lady. I don't need to have kids anymore, and I feel like that's just another thing every month that wreaks havoc on my body. It puts everything out of whack. I'm in a lot more pain. So I'm going to talk with my gynecologist about, what we could do to just stop that. And then work through the perimenopause stuff and the hormone supplements and all that. And then also my radiation doctor brought up a really good thing that I'm thankful that he brought up. He said, with this kind of cancer, if it truly is neuroendocrine, it usually is in the lungs, but then it also can easily transfer to the brain. And so he said, not that I'm expecting anything on an MRI, I would like to have a baseline for the future. And so I really appreciated that he even brought that up, because I remember Anthony and I in the beginning was like, well, are they going to check the brain? Like, are they going to do any other, besides the chest and the pelvic area? Like, what about the brain? And so I'm really thankful that he brought that up, and that my doctors are in agreement to move forward with the radiation, but also get an MRI of my brain so that we have a full picture of what we're dealing with for right now and also for the future, because most of the things that they're going to reference are going to be, baseline scans of what's going on. So I'm going to be scheduling that as well. So even though, like, this week I was really thankful that we canceled the chemo, because I feel like I needed a break to honestly reset and just take a deep breath and to kind of reorganize our plans and strategies on what we're gonna do moving forward. I feel a good amount of peace about all the things that we have decided to do. I'm hopeful that my insurance will approve things. And if not, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I'm not supposed to do immunotherapy. Who knows? Everything is, there's a lot of unknowns right now, and I'm just like trying to hold everything very open-handed in what we need to do, and getting, good counsel and wisdom from all these doctors. And so, thank you for your prayers. Thank you for reaching out. I kind of felt like it was time for me to come on and share, because people started asking, what's going on? Like, how are you doing? What's next? And so I appreciate everyone praying for us as we continue to navigate and discover what we need to do to heal my body. And, there's a lot of being in this kind of situation and having my mortality right in front of my face. Of course, like, I'm trying to slow things down, because I think time is so precious at this point. Every day is another day that God has given me. and a new day to rejoice and be thankful for, and to make it purposeful and meaningful. And I think, we all don't know. We're not promised tomorrow. I think it's just more in my face right now than ever before. And so, of course, I'm having to think through a lot of different things, planning for the future, making sure that my family's taken care of, that my family's set up well, that if there's anything that I would typically do for my family, like there's like this cross training of even with Anthony of like, oh, I do a lot of our finances. I want him to feel confident, like even if I weren't, to show up tomorrow, that he would feel good about knowing how to serve our family well and provide for our family for all the things that I would typically just take the lead in. So it feels a lot of like handing things off and being adaptable and adjusting to all the new information that's constantly coming in. And I'm really thankful for the grace that God has given me, for myself, for Anthony, for our family. I think that we're doing really good considering, everything that we're going through. Today there was a scripture and a prayer that popped up, and it was really timely, and I wanted to read it. The prayer is, Lord, help me to keep my mind focused on you and not on distressing events around me. Help me to trust you so much that I am not fearful or swayed by my emotions. Help me to not even fear bad news, because I know you are in charge of my life and you will walk with me and protect me. Protect the people I love and care about as well. Help them to trust in you and know you in a deeper way. I really thought it was a beautiful prayer and was very timely for me today. And then the scripture is Isaiah 26:3, and it says, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. I think this season has definitely put me in a situation of like real, authentic trust with God, and really every day. And it's been a part of my life, throughout my life of, okay, I trust you, God. You got this. No matter what happens, I trust God that he has a plan and purpose, and I'm learning so much right now that is stretching me, stretching my family. It's an opportunity of growth for Anthony and for me and my kids and my family. And I think when these kinds of things happen, it's an opportunity to learn. What does trust really look like? What does trust actually mean? You can easily say, oh, I trust God. But when you're in the fire, when you're in that storm, and the realities and the hardships and what that actually is hitting you pretty hard, and exercising that trust and practicing that trust, and it's real. So thanks for your care, for your for coming alongside us. Really thankful, really blessed, and I'll keep on letting you guys know what's going on and follow up. But if you could be praying for this next leg, I really think it's going to be pretty intense and hard. So if you could be praying for strength, or you could pray for resilience, pray for my body that it will respond to this specialized chemo and radiation, that quality of life will get better and will be encouraging, and Your prayers are powerful and they mean so much. So thank you. Take care and we'll talk soon.